Alright guys, so what we're going to be looking at today is creating a jump scare or animated object. So you can do this multiple ways, right? So we can do it with sounds, we can do it with moving objects, all that stuff. So for this example, I'm just going to use a cube. So I'm going to go ahead and drag a cube out here. And I'm just going to call this cube, we'll call it like zombie, even though it's obviously not a zombie. We're going to call it zombie. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move the cube start position to where I want it, which is going to be under the floor. Right, so there it is, under the floor. So now what I can do is go ahead and go to Cinematics, add Matinee Legacy. So you can see by default, it unselected your zombie. So I'm going to go ahead and come back in here and reselect my zombie. You need to make sure you do that before the next step. Otherwise, it's not going to work, and you're going to have to do this little process again. So I'm then going to right click, add new empty group. I'll call this zombie. And then I'm going to add a movement track for the zombie. And then I'm going to hit enter. So when I hit enter, you're going to see this little tiny red line appear, which means we have a keyframe there. Okay, so that's what that means. That means there's a keyframe right there. You can also see it down here. This is our overall timeline that we're looking at, and I'm zooming in and out. So maybe I want it to happen over 0.5 seconds. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this green bar down. So now it's just, this is my animation window. Is just going to be what's happening inside of this green area. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slide to 0.5, right, which is where I want it to be. And then I'm going to move this up. And then I'm going to hit enter. So you can see there's now 2 keyframes there, one at the beginning and one at the end. So if I scrub this, we can see it moving, right? So very, very simple to animate objects inside of Unreal. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now what I need to do is I need to go ahead and trigger this object. So I'm going to go ahead and make a box trigger. So I'm just going to type box. There's box trigger. Where is my scene? Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make this so that my character runs through it. Okay, so there's my box trigger. So now we have to figure out how to call this stuff, right? So it's very simple. We've called box triggers before, but we're going to use what's called our level blueprints. I'm going to go to Blueprints, Open Level Blueprint, and this is what I'm going to be looking at here. So what I want to do is with my trigger box selected, I'm going to right-click, Add Event for Trigger Box, Collision, On Actor, Begin Overlap. So once I overlap with this trigger box, it's going to do something. Now here's where it can get a little bit tricky, in that I need to now select my matinee actor, and sometimes it'll be under the floor, sometimes it'll be behind a wall, so you can just select it over here. Also, you can rename it if that's easier for you. Otherwise, you'll have like matinee actor 1, matinee actor 2, matinee actor 3, all that good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and with that selected, I'm going to right click and create a reference. So that means it's actually calling it in my level blueprint. It's like, okay, what am I looking for? I'm looking for this matinee actor. I'm just going to go ahead and pull off and type play. So once I overlap this box, it's going to play. So let's go ahead and take a look and make sure that that worked. Dun, dun, dun. Whoa! Right, so it worked perfectly. However, we have a problem where the object's still where it's still sitting there, right? So we can now go through and fix that. Depending on what you want it to do. If you're having like a gurney move across the floor or something like that, you're going to leave it there. But I want the object to disappear after I'm done with it. So I'm going to go back into my level blueprint. And I'm going to also make sure I add a do once trigger. So that way it can only trigger this box one time. Right, so there's my do once trigger. So it's like, okay, I can only do this one time. So what I want to do is I want to destroy the actor after it plays. So I'm going to pull this, I'm going to type destroy actor. Now here's where it gets tricky again. If I tell it to destroy the matinee actor, all it does is remove the keyframed animation. It doesn't actually remove the box. So what I need to do is I need to actually select that zombie box, come in here, right click, create reference. I'm going to tell it, hey, I would like you to destroy the zombie box. Now what's important is you need to have a delay in here, right? Otherwise it's going to go through the box, trigger, once it hits play it destroys it, so you're never actually going to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and type a delay. And I'm going to make my delay 0.6 since I know my animation is 0.5. So I can compile, save, hit play. Whoa, and it disappeared, right? And now I can keep walking through it. I don't have to worry, it's not going to re-trigger, it's gone forever. Okay, so now let's say we want to play a sound at the exact same time that happens. So I'm going to go back into my open level blueprint. And before it plays this, I'm going to instead tell it to play a sound. So I'm going to drag off this, type play, sound 2D. We can choose 2D because we just need to play it right there where that player is. We don't need to worry about spatial or anything like that. It's just going to be playing right there. And then I'll just pick a sound for this example. I'll just pick collapse 1. Okay. But you can trigger sounds all throughout the level whenever you want to. Pretty simple. So compile, save. If I hit play, now it plays the sound, right? Okay, so that's pretty much it for keyframing objects. It's not too difficult at all. And just using Matinee. You can have as many of these as you want in your scene. You can have tons of them. So don't worry about, only having one. You can have an infinite amount of them. All right.